Hello everybody and welcome back to another Final Fantasy TCG Dawn of Heroes set review. Today we're covering Lightning and all of its amazing power. A lot of really nice and interesting cards that Lightning got. I think it was long overdue too. They were starting to become, Lightning itself was starting to become a little undervalued, underplayed, kind of how like Fire was before, is almost becoming a joke. But I think things are going to turn around for Lightning a lot this set as a whole. So yeah, let's get into it, guys. Let's get started. Alright, we have Assassin. When Assassin enters the field, you may pay 2 Lightning and 1 other CP. When you do so, choose a 4, deal it 3,000 damage. That's a lot for 3,000. And then put Assassin in the break zone. You can choose a damage forward, break it. You can only use this ability during your turn. I guess really it's just like 4 CP to kill something. It's not the worst, but I probably won't need it. We have tons of better cards, I think, to do this. I was kind of hoping this might have been like something to go with, what are they called, like Marquise and them, but I guess not. He's just a generic standard unit assassin. Alice. Sign on the 7th Dawn. When Alice enters the field, choose a job sign of the 7th Dawn of cost 3 or less in your break zone. Play it onto the field. When a water forward enters the field, choose a forward your opponent controls. Dull it. This effect will only trigger once per turn. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. We talked about this one too when we saw the pre-release stuff over on the card of the week. But yeah, the synergy goes really nice with all the Scion stuff. We have a new Alpha Nod and an Urianger to this set, which are very helpful to something like this. A lot of potential. Just really underpowered, I think. Should be with the way like removal is currently, and I guess with all the new stuff as well. These guys will not survive is my biggest problem. So it's just a matter of how and when we play this. So. All in all, it's a strong card. I just wish it had a little more tankiness to it. Angeal. When Angeal enters the field, choose a forward of cost 4 or less. If you control 2 or more job soldiers, break it. Put Angeal into the break zone, choose a forward. It gains 3,000 power until the end of the turn. Yeah, I don't know if if this might even be a title card, but I feel like it's underwhelming. We don't need soldiers like. Other than the new Zac that we just got, it's like, how many more are there really? So it's like, I don't know. I don't think this is gonna be even worth like looking into. There's tons of better ways to play 7. Yeah, and I don't know. It feels like a miss for me, really. Astonian. Now we're getting to the good stuff, guys. So Astonian, Warp 1. Lightning haste. When Astonian enters the field due to warp, until the end of the turn, Astonian gains brave and can attack twice in the same turn, which is wow. Yeah, no, that's crazy. And then when Astonian attacks until the end of the turn, Astonian gains 10,000 power and first strike. So this guy is not gonna get blocked ever. Yeah, that first time he comes in, he's taking 2 points of damage pretty much always. Unless, obviously, you just blank him, do a quick Kuchulain, or just bounce him again. This guy's going to be a problem. You're going to need to have other terms of removal instead of like damage for most decks, I think, because of cards like this. This is probably going to be the next big card that everyone plays. I'm confident in saying that everyone's going to try to splash this into most decks. And I said this before, too, when we saw this the first time, but he's just too strong. Like he's gonna do a lot of damage quickly, and then even on the turns he doesn't come out, you know, if you play him, like if you hard cast him for whatever reason, right, or even bring him back with the whole Scion engine thing. He has haste and he can attack. He'll be 18,000, like 18k. It's such a big deal. Thankfully though, he is stoppable by a mod, so a mod will still be relevant as well. So there is that. And look at the fancy card. One day I'll get to see one of these in person. I'm hoping I was hoping this would be it, but not this time. Kadaj. When Kadaj enters the field or is put from the field into the break zone, choose a forward your opponent controls. It loses 4,000 power until the insert. So the entry ability is like whatever, because reducing by 4k doesn't really do much unless it's like, you know, main phase 2 kind of stuff, or you have some kind of already like damage done to the board or whatever. But the fact when he leaves, when he's put from the field to the break zone, allows him to punch up, which is probably such an old mechanic, like wise. Like, it feels so outdated, right? It's like it came in when there's so many other ways to kill things out. So very basic card, common for a reason. Graha. If you control a job standard unit of category 14, Graha Tia gains 3,000 power. So if you have a job standard unit, category 14 character, sorry. And when Graha enters the field, you may pay X. When you do so, search for one job sign of the 7th Dawn for forward of cost X and play it onto the field. This is what I was talking about, right? Like, even if you're just getting Astonian by himself or whatever, like, Astonian will still do his thing, but this guy is great. The standard unit thing is such an easy, like, turn 2 play, right? Like, not even turn 1 play. We got the ones that go with all of the primals, so, you know, playing any primal in this deck just automatically makes this guy 10k. So his effect, even if he gets a modded, doesn't die. He's just going to be a 10k beat stick. I expect to see this guy just about everywhere too. The Scion deck is going to be very relevant, I think, or at least it'll start out relevant until we kind of figure out all the more broken stuff, and then maybe it'll fall to the wasteland. But we'll see, because you know, 2 10k, you know, higher than 10k beaters is kind of still a problem. That's why Warrior of Light did such a good job, right? Because he was a big threat and he had all these extra features, but maybe this will be able to supplement all of that stuff. So Illusionist. Put Illusionist into the break zone. Choose a forward. It deals if it deals damage to a forward your opponent controls this turn, increase that damage by 2,000. I like this one. It's something nice for Lightning to have, I think. Previously only Fire had stuff like this. And it's a 2k buff, which is a little also out of the norm, I believe. I'm not sure where we would go with this, but it does make me think of pairing it with other elements, right? Like Lightning Fire is already kind of like, you know, in the background, right? We have, and I don't just mean 13, right? I mean, like, there was the 8 deck. There's some other, you know, the Arden decks kind of messed with it for a little while, but and Squall is just something else altogether, right? Like, so there's ways to incorporate this in a fire deck or lightning deck sometimes, but he's not the worst backup. The Emperor. The cost required for characters your opponent controls to use action abilities is increased by 2. The Emperor is put from the field in the break zone. You may search for a card named the Emperor of cost 3 or less and play it onto the field. I don't want to get into how many Emperor targets we have, but I do like this effect a lot. Just off the top of my head, you know, things like Rydia and Warrior of Light, they're not so free anymore, right? And then the Rosa Rydia combo, the Rosa, what's his name? Rosa Warrior of Light, Rosa Une, it's not as free as it used to be. This might be a good answer, you know, because as opposed to playing the 4 cost Dark, mainly because even if it's removed, you're able to filter this out and then, like, still being able to prevent them from using more action abilities. It's just a really good card, I think. I think this is the first one that might just be able to play on its own, outside of building an Emperor deck, right? Because it's not in a weird color, and it does a lot more for you than you think. And I'm actually really big on this card, so just something to think about. I think it'll see play. Shadow Dragon. When card named Golbus enters the field, you may pay 1. When you do so, play Shadow Dragon onto the field. This effect will only trigger if Shadow Dragon is in your break zone. When Shadow Dragon enters the field, choose a forward of cost 3 or less. Your opponent controls, break it. And then until the end of the turn, Shadow Dragon also becomes a forward of 3,000 power. You can only use this ability once per turn. It's not the worst effect. Being that it's only like 3k and it's like a monster, kind of kills something too. It has potential. Obviously, it's, you know, a little tied to a Golbez deck, and we've seen a few come and go throughout the, you know, the 20 sets now. You know, Warp being the most noticeable one, but I think it has some potential because of you know how much synergy we have. So just, you know, it wouldn't be the weirdest thing, but it could, you know, it does buff Golbez decks, so in a weird way. Core, more fodder. If you control drop King, Core gains 2,000 power, and when Core is put from the field of the break zone, you may remove the top 10 cards from your deck from the game. When you do so, play Core from the break zone onto the field dull. That second effect is so weird, man. We're not to the point where outside of X Death that we need to keep all of that remove stuff out or like race for that. And this guy doesn't have haste or nothing else too, so just 10k doesn't do anything for me sometimes, and it's, I don't know, it's weird. Like, you're comparing to Graha, right? Graha's 7 to 8 for a 3, has a weird out ability. I know it's also an H2 to a rare, but like, I don't know. Maybe this might just be fodder for me. The lightning generic backup. If you have three lightning backups, this is free. Johnny. When Johnny enters the field, choose a character other than card named Johnny in your break zone and add it to your hand. And then you can tap two or put Johnny in the break zone, choose category 7 character in your break zone, add it to your hand. We like these effects, right? We have the Zemus that's kind of similar, you know, Sage effect and things like that from that first ability. And then just being able to grab something later is always nice. Probably no more than a one of, you know, not bad for a Sector 7 Slum Dweller. That's that very unique job. I don't know if we'll have Slum Dweller deck one day, but I don't know. But if it is, this is the start of it. Sephiroth, Warp 3. For 1 lightning, Sephiroth enters the field, choose a forward other than Sephiroth, break it, and then he has an S, choose a forward of cost 3 or less, break it. I think this is a decent card. I was happy enough to reveal this for you guys. If you haven't seen it, make sure to check out the short on my channel. But realistically though, it's not the worst card. I like that even if he comes in on an empty board, when, you know, because you can play around him. Realistically, he doesn't have to kill himself, so we're good. So it's nothing really. There's almost no downside to him, other than his like S can only be 3 or lesses. So it's a well-timed Sephiroth could make a lot of problems for people. So, and then if he comes out and they try to Amat him, well, I mean, well, I guess they would have technically they would Amat him before, but hard casting him is still a thing. And then you can also S response to kill something else. So there's some potential here for him. He might see some play. He's not bad for a common though. Chadley, when Chadley enters the field, you may discard a card. When you do so, search for 1 lightning summon and add it to your hand. And discard a summon, put Chadley into the break zone, choose a forward in your break zone, add it to your hand. I like more of this. I think this is finally a good card that lightning needed. We had one that only searches type O lightning summons in the past, so this is great. This is just like, get any lightning summon. Feels good. I think this should be played when we have when there's a few decks that require it. Also, as we get better lightning summons, of course, it'll just go with that. Reprinted crystal backup. They're going to do this every 3 sets. Fusoya EX Burst. When Fusoya enters the field, if you have 2 or more summons in your break zone, draw a card. Very good. And when Fusoya attacks, you may cast 1 summon of cost 2 or less from your hand without paying cost. Also decent. I don't know how playable he might be. I think just because he's a 2-drop category 4 character makes me appreciate him a little bit more. For something in a Iridia deck maybe, or like a generic, you know, FF4 deck, because our other options are like the water one, the light one, and then the big 7-drop one, which is like I forget if there's another backup too that just like deals 5k or something. There's a few options, but I think out of all of them, this might be a little bit better for us just because he can draw. He's EX Burst that allows us to draw, you know, in weird off situations, but definitely some potential here, I think. Behemoth. When Behemoth enters the field, choose a forward, deal it 7,000, and then 2 lightning tap, put Behemoth into the break zone, choose a damage forward, break it. I think he's cool. He does very well in limited and sealed. I think I still want a better Behemoth, but he's not bad. He's actually not bad. He's probably my favorite Behemoth up until now, other than BK, because BK is his own thing. But yeah, he's not the worst common. Mira, another Mira. When an opponent's forward enters the field, you may pay 1 and discard a monster. When you do so, break that forward. Put a monster into the break zone. Play Mira onto the field. Dull. You can only use this ability during your turn, and if Mira is in the break zone. So a very interesting concept. I know a lot of people are excited for this. I saw what it was like in Sealed, right? Like, it happened to me, right? She was out, Mira was out, and I tried to play something, and boom, sure enough, they had the monster. They broke it, my forward, and I was kind of in like an off situation. After that, though, they were out of monsters and couldn't really do much. So now, again, it's probably more consistent for like a primarily monster-heavy deck, but still has some potential, and I see it a little more now. This card is going to look like amazing full art, so might just be looking to pick one up for funds. But yeah, it's a decent card. Ramu. So select 2 of the following 3. Choose a forward, dull it, choose a forward, deal it 5k, and choose a forward, it gains haste until the end of the turn. Pretty straightforward. I love that none of it has like stipulations. Doesn't have to be a lightning forward that gains haste, doesn't have to be active to deal 5k, and it doesn't have to be over 10,000 or something stupid for just to dull a forward. So it's a good way to have, like, it's another 2 removal things, kind of like the other Ramu that we play right now, the 7-cost one. I'm sorry, the 3-cost one that deals 7k and breaks a monster. This kind of like stays on par with that one in my opinion, just because can give haste and do multiple things, and it's good. Ramza. When Ramza enters the field, he's a knight and a warrior. If you have a crystal, Ramza gains haste, and when Ramza is put from the field into the break zone, choose a forward your opponent controls. Break it. Just a solid aggressive card. 2 for 5, can pretty much eat anything it wants. Yeah, I like this card a lot. I think it will be played at some level. Super fantastic and sealed, by the way. There's so many crystal generators that just having multiples Ramzas is great. And lastly, Reeve. So Reeve, when Reeve enters the field, look, he's EX burst, backup 4-cost. Look at the top 3 cards of the deck, add 1 card among them to your hand, and return the others to the bottom of the deck. Just note, you can look and add, don't have to reveal nothing. So it's very good. I like that it's EX burst. I like that it is it's in lightning, and I think lightning could benefit from something like this as well. It's a little bit better for a more generic lightning searcher, or like things where you don't want to play Reeve into case, right? So lightning X, right? Lightning Earth, lightning. I'm thinking lightning wind mostly, but it's not a bad card, and we like the EX burst stuff. I think lightning needed more generic EX burst that will benefit it, like so you can increase that EX burst count, so you're not just running like Ramus and Odins and stuff. So it's not a bad card. And what's his name? Sid of Clan Gully to get a character back, right? There's a lot of, you can just flex a little bit more with these now, with this option. But yeah, guys, I think that's going to do it for the Lightning set review. My top 5 are 100% going to be Graha, the Emperor, Chadley. We have Ramza and Reeve, I believe. For everything else other than the L's. The L's are, Astonian is amazing on its own, goes without question. And the Mira does have a lot of potential to be very dangerous. So those are my picks. Let me know about you. What are you thinking about Lightning? Do you think this set is enough to bring Lightning back, mono or other, or is Astonian just going to be in everything like we think? Please, I want to know. I want to hear what you're thinking. So don't forget to leave it in the comments. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for supporting and listening to me rant. And yeah, enjoy the rest of them, and I'll catch you later.